Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Friday, October 19th, and we are on the Americas account. We need to play some Druid cards. Let's hop into it and get it done, because why not? Let's move fast. I'm also trying to win and maintain a rank 18 rank winning, if I can get away with that. Started pretty late. I'm thinking probably for all of the fall and winter my sleep schedule, insomnia, is just going to be so messed up that we may start doing 8, 9, 10 o'clock streams. There's a slight problem with starting even at like 7 in the evening, because these streams can go particularly long and that it's less likely that people can stay up till midnight watching a stream. Also, I've been trying and failing considerably to do the web peak, and I think it's working now. I hope it's working now. Getting feedback and being told, hey, the web peak is not working, or hey, there's something else wrong with your video, is basically never happens. My audience is just too nice. For as much as people complain about YouTube commenters, the last time I've even had people complain about the quality of my YouTube videos was when I did an incredibly when Kerbal Space Program screwed up the audio really badly. I was about to blame myself for that, but in all honesty, that was Kerbal Space Program's fault. But that was nearly 2+ years ago. Otherwise, it's, for the most part, been smooth sailing. Of course, inherently, this is mostly just the fact that nobody watches my videos in the first place, so how could they complain? Moving on, though, let's get through the news. I think we might burn through the daily quests on Hearthstone a little bit early, which would be fine. Maybe what I could do is exhaust myself and fall asleep early after this stream, and then try and reset my schedule that way.
The scourge will devour all.
Okay, so we've got a game called Double-Headed Shark Attack. It says it's a massive multiplayer casual simulator game. I've seen previous games that were like this, where you're playing as sharks. There's actually a really good looking 3D game that's in development where you play as a shark, and this is certainly not going to compare to that. This looks like mostly a cell phone game, or just a simple game. They want, oh my goodness, $42.49 for this game? Ridiculous. Like, at what point does a price tag become a troll? Like, this is straight up a troll price. Like, nobody's gonna pay that much for this game. You gotta be joking. Alright, let's do this and this. And then do this. And then I think I want to just end the turn. No, I'll go ahead and kill this one. Yeah. Like, even if this game was the best game ever, this is still not worth it. And I guess Double-Head Shark Attack is because some of the sharks have 2 heads. So this is some of those Sci-Fi Channel style shows referencing that. 2-headed shark, 3-headed shark, 5-headed shark. I don't think they actually made a 4-headed shark movie. But it is completely unwelcome in the video game industry, as far as I'm concerned. The idea of making simplistic joke games that like sci-fi makes simplistic joke movies.
Time goes short.
Honestly, it's not welcome in the world of movies either that sci-fi makes those simplistic joke movies. Okay. If I did that, so it give me 5, so I need to get rid of 2 things first. There we go. TechRaptor has an article, Dirty Bomb is done. Splash damage ending live development. So, the free-to-play first-person shooter Dirty Bomb is ending further development according to a news post on the game's official website. Dirty Bomb was previewed by TechRaptor way back in 2015 when it first hit the market. While the initial appraisal of the microtransaction was less than favorable on our part, the core game itself was considered a good bit of fun. Going by the Steam charts for this title, Dirty Bomb has seen gradual decline in players despite the developers continually working on updates. You can play Dirty Bomb for free right now, but they're ending development. So I'm on their Steam page just to see what it looks like. It doesn't inherently look terrible. The problem is there's just way too much competition for these types of games. And Overwatch ate their lunch. That's really what it comes down to, is Overwatch ate the lunch of any game that was a hero-based shooter, whereas previously things like Team Fortress or Counter-Strike, well, I guess it would be Team Fortress in particular, wasn't being as competitive. I wouldn't be surprised if we eventually hear that Team Fortress stops development, but Valve has all the money in the world, so that makes sense that they wouldn't really care to stop development. Like this really does feel very much like a Team Fortress clone. And it's a multiplayer only game, free to play, full of a bunch of microtransaction DLC things. And see, 1.0 is here, was announced at August 30th. So they've just given up on it. This is certainly the dirty side, no pun intended, of
What to do?
it's the dirty side of the idea of games as services, is the fact that so many, if not almost all of them, eventually fail in one way or the other. Let's see. There's really nothing, though, I guess, to say or do about Dirty Bomb shutting down too, though, because inherently there is no story there. There's no game there as far as a single player experience. As a video game critic who can really only criticize the single player experience for the most part, I mean, I could try to jump into an online game and say, hey, this one very unique, never gonna be duplicated again experience with me being online was good or bad. And I can try to extrapolate and say, hey, you have a chance of having a similar experience to what I had with these other online players. There's really not a lot there to criticize, really not a lot there that's being created by the developers of the game. Dirty Bomb is not the kind of game that you could quickly slap in some story and some single player levels and repackage and sell. So it really is just going to disappear in the history, and that's kind of what has to happen with all history, unfortunately. Like, it would be nice if every game forever continued to be playable and was good enough that people really did want to play it, but for there to be good things, there have to be bad things, and Dirty Bomb certainly falls into probably the bad things category.
The light protects me.
Speaking of probably bad things, our next game on Steam is called War Dust 32 vs 32 Battle. Looks like an asset flip game. A lot of these are really easy to spot. Like, this one's a good, easy one to spot. Certainly. Let's see what this multiplayer only game cost. Early access, $14.99. I think I'm with 40% off. I need to think of a better phrase, certainly, because it is taking a lot of breath just to say, hey, this game is $14.99 while it's 40% off. So
I fight.
maybe I could use the phrase discounted to $14.99. Or $14.99 discounted. Clearly that's a game that's not going to make it to the watch list or fall list as it is now going to be done. I've realized that all new games really should go to the fall list, and I should keep the watch list cleaned up in a way that only games that are specifically like pre-approved are on the wish list. That way people are much less likely of accidentally purchasing a game for me that I wasn't really interested in playing, which right now that is certainly a problem. And it just keeps it a little bit easier and more cleaned up as in general. So I'm gonna have to probably go through. I guess I'll continue doing the end of the year cleanup videos the way I'm doing them, but there is now some extra work I'm going to do after that, where I'm just going to open every single game and add it to the follow list later on. So I'm adding more work for myself in the hopes of having less work for myself later on, which is often the only way you can be efficient, is just to improve things. Hey, I just noticed that there's pumpkins we can be smashing. A couple of them. There's one here, but I can't reach it. Next we have a game on Steam called Double Shot. It says it's a early action gore VR game. As far as what I can tell is it's a VR game where you're standing behind a bar and you have a gun and you're mixing drinks and you sometimes throw the drinks. I am assuming that you're throwing the drinks to power somebody up, because it would make a little bit less sense that you're throwing the drinks to hurt somebody after spending the effort. So it seems like there's bad guys and good guys. Like, what a weird combination of ideas. Early access, $19.99, and requires VR. Well, even if this wasn't a VR game, it certainly wouldn't make it to my wish list. It's just a ridiculous idea. Alright, this, this in the turn. Gematsu has an article. Mega Dimension Neptunia VIIR for PC launches October 22nd. More Neptunia on PC. The Neptunia series is a big series, I have realized. I have a lot of them on my wish list. I am not 100% sure that they are games that in the long run are going to actually get played because they're RPGs and they're very possibly not recognizable or popular enough to play. This one in particular is a VR game, so I wouldn't be able to play it anyways. So yeah, I'm gonna have to make some decision moments. Have some decision moments where I decide that whether or not I want to play specific kinds of games, or which VR games or which RPG games I want to play. Not VR, but RPG games.
Job's done.
Let's see. This next game I'm not going to show you because it's a troll game of fat, ugly people with their shirts off in a simple puzzle game. It's called Mentai Uncensored, MENTAI. So it's supposed to be hentai, but they're making fun of that, and it's men, which is a mistranslation in the first place because hentai always included material that was designed for either or both a female heterospective female perspective or heterospective male perspective. I get there's probably a better way to say that. I guess the phrase I used recently was cheesecake and beefcake. Like, both were in that category. Like, this troll game is 15% off for 84 cents. And see, what's really stupid about this is that I think for a second some streamer somewhere might buy this game and play it. I could see PewDiePie playing this game and giving this developer, who has made several other games that are just puzzle games that actually don't look inherently like troll games, but the idea of giving them more thing. Oh no, they definitely a troll developer because they have a whole series of Trivia Vault games that they released a few months ago. So yeah, that's not the kind of content I want to see on Steam. So you need to play a few more Druid cards. We're making progress. Heck, I'm at this rate. If I get one more victory, I might get a win streak and make it to rank 17, which would be nice. Gamasutra has an article. Steam surpasses 30 million domestic users in China, according to Nico Partners analyst Daniel Ahmed. This is
I must
hey, that's the new hero replacement. I guess I'm glad nobody's buying that because that could be very annoying. This is a huge deal, says the article, for Chinese developers when it comes to finding success not only internationally but domestically, since they now have access to a platform with 30 million domestic users. This is Hallow's End.
The light protects me.
Like, I have no idea why they would let you buy a hero replacement character that's just going to be annoying.
Job's done.
So,
Reporting for duty.
So yeah, Steam is kind of in a weird position though, because if not now, probably pretty soon Steam will be banned in China, or even more heavily censored in China. It seems like China is in general against video games in general, but this is a big blow also for Wii Game and Tencent, because that was what China was trying to do, is to get everybody to play only games on Wii Game, and clearly there wasn't enough selection, or not as good of an experience, and so now the people of China that want to play games have moved over to Steam. And we've certainly seen that too, where there has been a rather significant number of Steam, Chinese-only Steam games coming out in the past month or so. And I imagine that will continue to happen. And generally, I think it's a good thing overall, because it's going to show the Chinese video game development community where the level of quality actually is, instead of where they thought it was, because I think they've been a little isolated in their own country, and they've not realized that, oh yeah, there's actually a lot better games out there, and we can't just make total garbage games and sell it anymore. We have to actually put some effort into our development. Guess I could do that. There we go. Let's see.
Reporting for duty.
The light protects me.
Next game we have on Steam is called FHA Amazing. It looks like it is a pretty much garbage game, although some of these graphics don't look like just asset flips, so it seems like somebody just misunderstands the idea of drawing something that is visually appealing. This is just too flashy and crazy looking. This would tire my eyes very quickly. Whatever this game is, it's not visually appealing. 40%, $2.99 discounted is what it's selling for. I guess by showing and doing the web peek, that opens the door to me potentially saying something wrong and then showing the right thing, so somebody can argue with me about it later.
I fight.
And that way I could only be half wrong as far as giving information. That might be helpful too. Let's see. Game Sutra has an article. Games as a service drives huge market value spike in EA Activision. We already talked about this. That still doesn't mean games as a service is a good thing.
Handle it.
Like, we have a game called Hentai Forest, which is another slide puzzle game. I'm not going to show it off. This feels like what is going on Steam is that anything that is tagged with nudity and sexual content now is going through like one group of people that seem to only spend one day a week or one day every 2 weeks approving these games. So you get these little bursts of some days you get a lot of RPG Maker games, some days you get a lot of lewd sex games, so you get slightly different experience, and that's alright with me, I guess. If Fridays become the lewd day of the week, and where we get a little bit naughty and talk about the naughty games, that kind of makes sense. It's a little odd though that this developer is clearly a troll developer, but he must not be getting on the bad side of Valve quite yet, because they're not removing him. Let's hope this works. One, this, 2, 4. Oh yeah, that was actually that was more than enough to win. So win streak bonus. Need one more victory to get to 17, and I need to play some more druid cards. I guess it's possible that this troll developer is just making low effort games and not doing anything else, so there's not any real so Steam is letting them do their thing and waste their money. Moving on, Game of Sutra has an article. Devs air grievances with Steam's reviews, regional pricing, and dev support. There's a quote here. The whole way Steam handles reviews is so brutal and backbreaking to developers. Let's see. This article starts, Polygon has put together a detailed story, so Game of Sutra is just reposting Polygon, as they often do, on the current state of Steam, combining the opinions and expressions of over 20 game devs to assess how the massive digital games platform is doing for developers in its current state. Now, before you even start, you have to say, well, Polygon has shown a kind of clear and obvious bias against Steam, since they won't adopt the SJW censorship that they would like to see happen. So this could be 100% an attack article. There's another problem. What defines a game developer? Is this a game developer who's made AAA games that have sold really well, or is this a troll developer who has literally never made a good game in their life by most people's subjective opinion? Let's see. The next paragraph, the full story runs through issues with Steam's review system, regional pricing, and overall developer support, make it an insightful read for game developers looking to compare and contrast their own experiences with the platformers. Some developers talk about how difficult it can be to get Steam to remove frivolous or downright malicious reviews. There's literally no reason why any review should be allowed to be taken down, and unless, like, I guess if it's a spam review that's not really reviewing the game, but I don't know how you prove malicious reviews. I don't know how you prove anything. This has been kind of a consistent issue too, where people have tried to DMCA copyright claim, trademark claim, and any other way silence people who criticize their games, and this literally is the developers who do that kind of things. Despite how crucial that coveted, mostly positive review rating can be for games on the platform. Quote, I flagged negative reviews where someone was saying they wouldn't recommend the game because our online service has its own EULA. That's not a legitimate flag. I think that is a big issue that should be addressed. There are far too many games on Steam that say you have to agree to this third-party EULA just so one assumes they can pull some kind of shenanigans. It's not like the Steam EULA that you agree to when buying any other game is so weak and limp-wristed that you need a different EULA. I've been personally thinking about the idea of having registered contracts in the United States and around the world where the government creates specific contracts that is like, this is the cell phone registered contract. This is the contract that every cell phone company, if they want to be 100% secure in lawsuits, should use. And if they deviate from this registered contract and use their own contract, which they still could, then throughout a lawsuit and court case, the defendant or could argue that actually the reason why, say, AT&T used their own contract was to make it complex, deceptive, or do something that was that would be unacceptable, and thus they shouldn't be held to the AT&T contracts. They should be held to the standard of the registered contracts, and registered contracts should be short, simple, easy to understand, well-written things that you could teach kids in high school to understand. And that's kind of the similar ideas. If everybody would read just the Steam EULA and understand that, and then refuse to play any game that has its own end-user license agreement that has some weird arbitration clause in it, or weird, if you write a bad review, you owe us $1 million clause. Let's see. One anonymous developer says, quote, I flagged him, the ticket gets rejected, then I mail my Steam rep with a list. The rep says, it's your responsibility to maintain open communication and properly set expectations, and you won't have a problem with negative reviews. Inherently, what this developer probably is doing wrong is he's not making a good game. Like, if it was a good game, nobody is going to, for the 1 out of 1,000 negative reviews you get for having a separate end-user license agreement, you would have had,
Job's done.
you would have had at least 20 or 30 positive reviews to counterbalance it. That's not a legitimate complaint, and that was the first paragraph in this Gamma Sutra compilation. And see, that's inherently the problem with all these Polygon articles and Kotaku articles and PC Gamer articles, and why I stopped listening to them, is that all of their articles are just, I don't know if it's to sell articles on outrage or if it's just to sell articles on stupid issues, but they never feel like they have any legitimacy. And I don't want to sound like a corporate shill. I hate corporations, and I hate most of the video game companies, but in this instance, like, I don't think Steam is a terrible place to sell your game. I really don't. In fact, I think Steam is the best place to sell your game that you have as far as options. Others point to issues with Steam's regional pricing system that automatically sets the price for a game in multiple regions at once, with many of those developers saying that Valve's policy of recommended pricing strategies based on experiences ends up putting games at deep discounts without their knowledge. What? Let me read that again. With many of the developers saying Valve's policy of recommending pricing strategies based on experience. Well, the way that reads, and I could be wrong about this, it seems to imply that Valve gives you a recommendation to discount your game, and then you have to click OK on that and accept that discount. And if you click OK and accept that discount, you will potentially discount games in other regions a lot more than you realized. That just seems like somebody's stupid. I hate to go into the personal attack, but let's see. Steam's regional pricing system automatically sets a price for a game in multiple regions. Okay. And many developers say that Valve's policy of recommended pricing strategies based on experience. So they recommend the price to you that you should set your game at. They're helping you. And then, but they're recommending it, they're not forcing it, from best I can tell. So let me rephrase this thing. Steam does you a favor and recommends you a price. You're too dumb to look at, if you're too dumb to look at the regional pricing differences, so what? Moving on though, most of the developers at Polygon spoke that were unaware that the system even existed. Opinions vary between those that did. One developer recalled losing out on a publishing deal after discovering their game was selling at a discount in one region. I don't know why you would lose out on a publishing deal because of that. Sounds like your game probably wasn't that desirable in the first place. Again, I'm gonna hold on to these Druid cards. Well, another notes that Valve's style of regional pricing helped boost worldwide sales. Let's see. The full story on Polygon contains developers' opinions of more of Steam's offerings as well, including a variety throughout thoughts on the 30% cut Steam takes out of every purchase is justified by the service that the platform currently offers. And I think it is pretty justified. As a YouTuber who at best would have been getting, I think YouTube was taking like a 50% cut. I think for what Steam offers a lot better service than what YouTube does for people trying to make a living. Now, to be fair, there is one thing YouTube does that is better than what Steam does. Steam's recommendation engine in particular needs a major overhaul. Like, and they're working on it, certainly, but when a new game comes out,
This guy's toast.
it probably doesn't get a lot of recommendations. When a old game is similar to a new game that has become popular, that old game pretty much never gets any recommendations. When you go to a specific game's page and you look at that shelf, that row of games that says more like this on Steam, that in particular is always awful. It never recommends a small time game. So Steam really does push most people to playing the top 10% of video games that ever existed and not play any old school or older games, which might be fine. Really, like, that might not be too bad of an issue because most gamers probably do want to play the newest and the best games. They probably don't want to go struggle through a point-and-click adventure game from the 1990s, particularly if it's one that has literally no relevancy. It's made by a company that never made anything else, that it wasn't popular when it first came out. Let's see, how do I want to handle this? I think I'm just gonna do this. Moving on, TechRaptor has an article, let the Halo bug infect you with new infection mode updates. What's weird about here is that there's updates to Halo games. So the Zombie vs. Spartan game mode Infection, which apparently has been a Halo Halloween staple has been updated in both Halo 5 Guardians and Halo the Master Chief Collection. I really don't feel like a ton of people are probably playing Halo games right now. That seems pretty unlikely. Okay, how do we want to handle this? Adjacent ones get... I should have played that first, but that wouldn't have worked. Do I want to give everything +1/+1? Right now? We have a game on Steam called Hentai Legends. I was not joking about them really just releasing all the lewd games at the same time. Tagged Nudity, Early Access Adventure RPG. It looks like it's a match 3 puzzle game with some bad animation. Yeah, pretty bad. Elf girls with big busts being shown. The screenshots aren't really even showing off the characters very well. It's a little too dark in all of the images. Just kind of feels like the entirety of the game has a contrast problem. And the screenshots are in Russian too. Yes, this is an English and Russian troll game. Claims to be rated by the ESRB for adults only. Which it almost certainly isn't. Early access for no reason, $1.19 discounted. Yeah, this is definitely not a game that should be on anybody's wish list. Quite the last couple of screenshots are quite provocative too, and the developer claims to be Unreal Gaming Corporation, which has made a couple other games that look like they're low effort sex games, or just low effort games in general. Let's see, can we do 6 damage here? Right. Do this, this. And this.
Job's done.
I'm hoping that's enough. Next we have a game on Steam called Distorted Illusions, which is a free-to-play puzzle game, it looks like. Looks like a simple one-screen Unity game with some microtransactions in it. Says it's free-to-play. Yep, this doesn't look like it's worth even the free-to-play price. Yeah, they really want you to play the premium of $1.69. And this is from a developer who's made one previous game. So like another low effort game developer. Right. Let's do this. Draw a card. Draw a card. Alright, at this point I think I'm gonna lose, so let's play that. And do that. Next we have a game that I don't think I'm gonna show off just out of safety's sake. It's called Girl Mod Girls VR, Create Pose in VR. In this instance, it's not anime girls, it's just 3D Unity assets of regular girls in bikinis and provocative underwear outfits. It doesn't look terrible, honestly, because they are asset flipping something. They've got it one scene where there's a girl on a motorcycle and you're posing her on the motorcycle. It seems like there's actually a decent amount of color selectors and positions where you can pose the skeleton frame, and it at least in this trailer it doesn't look like it's freaking out terribly. Alright, well, we are now done with the America's account. Let's switch over to the European account. We made it to rank 17. I'm very surprised about that. Inherently, though, a game where you're just creepily posing dolls in VR is not much of a game. It's early access and it's $29.74. I really don't see what you do with this. Yeah. And see, I guess I can show it off because I've looked at it all now. Like, you get these Unity assets of girls and they look relatively good, but I don't know what you do with this. You can't make an entire scene. I seriously doubt you can make an entire scene or put any dialogue to it or in any other way. Maybe you can get them walking, maybe you can get them moving, but this really is hardly an animation software. Like, so what are you doing with your life is really the question there. Why would you be playing that? Playing with the software. Let's see. I need to play a bunch of road cards and try and get a couple victories on the European account. It'd be nice if I got really lucky. Let's see. Wild. No wild play. I had a challenge a friend quest. I got that done earlier off screen for anybody who wonders what happened there. I was actually able to challenge the, I think, same person who was ranked 221 legendary, and they were very thankful. They said thanks several different ways, and I was just not in the mood to talk, so I didn't respond to him rudely. I know, but yeah, we played a game. He let me win immediately and helped me win very quickly. It was a nice, fast experience. You can't really ask for more than that.
You asked for it. Watch your back.
I wish all of Hearthstone was nice, fast experiences, honestly. GameIndustry.biz has an article, Super Data, mobile AR to generate more revenue than VR by 2021. But virtual reality is set for a strong year in 2019, with Oculus Quest expecting to outsell the Rift by 3-1. Honestly, I've never been less motivated to get into VR as of right now. There's been more than enough time for somebody to develop some sort of a large collection of games that are actually worth playing on VR, and that collection just does not exist. You can name less than a dozen games that really are worth playing in VR. It is just a novelty as far as I'm concerned. Let's see. TechRaptor has an article. The Call of Duty Black Ops 4 Black Market has been revealed. Let's see. The in-game store is available first on PS4 and 7 days later on Xbox One and PC. The Black Market will introduce several ways for players to earn cosmetic items, unique weapons, emotes, and more. This happens as players are confused about the state. This happens, I think, as players are confused about the state of Call of Duty points due to them not showing up in the game despite being in multiple pre-order packages. So Call of Duty has been hiding its in-game store for the first week. The contraband stream provides players with a progression path to earn items by playing the game. The black market will also offer limited time special events to bring more unique content to the game, beginning October 20th. Let's see. They skip down to the quick take for Tech Raptor. As somebody who generally doesn't care at all about
there once was a man from Gilneas.
Here we go.
About Call of Duty Black Ops, it's hard to maintain interest in this story, but I know some people will be interested. So Tech Raptor's quick take says, I think the way the black market stuff has been rolled out, which will presumably include microtransactions but we still don't even know for sure, has been misleading and confusing, allowing players to believe that the game has no such market and leaving them wonder where their pre-order bonus Call of Duty points were. You know what, also this is just downright fraud, because they're modifying the game in a way after people have played that 2 hours to get a refund. So if you really felt you didn't want to play Call of Duty 4, once you have this microtransactions element added in, you're going to have to try and get a refund after having played probably way more than 2 hours of it. Like, and this is exactly the opposite of what Steam should allow. I wouldn't be upset or surprised if Valve came out and said, oh, by the way, if you want a refund, we're going to be very lenient on this game because they've made such a major change to what it was.
This guy's toast.
Oh, I just realized that. Did Disguised Toast take this sound bite and use it for his YouTube channel, or did Hearthstone take Disguised Toast's soundbite and put it in the game? I'm not sure. That's an interesting question. Which came first?
We have many secrets.
Yeah, well, generally speaking, I don't think I'd ever play Call of Duty anyways. I don't think Black Ops 4 in particular is the one Call of Duty to probably play anyways. So I can just kind of ignore it and move on with my life. I'd like to play this. And then do, I guess, this. And then we can do this. And then we can do that.
Lights out.
We have a game on Steam called Game Quotes the Game. It's a extremely low effort game trivia game. I think this stealing the entire concept from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I don't specifically hate the idea of a trivia game that is video game quotes or video game knowledge in general, but at $1.59 discounted, this is not the game. And that is not really a quote. Are you a boy or a girl was said by Pokemon. That's not a memorable quote. In fact, if I think about it, I'm not 100% sure that there are a lot of video game quotes out there that are worth people's time or memorable. Darn it. Like,
Amazing.
I suppose for Assassin's Creed you could have quotes like, nothing is true, everything is true. I don't even know what the quote is. But video game people in general don't tend to be super annoying and quote video games. It just, I don't think that happens that often. Alright, let's play this. And this. Let's see if I hit that and then do that. And then do that. It should be okay. Komatsu has an article, Torchlight Frontiers details relic weapons. I had forgotten Torchlight Frontiers was a thing. This is the company that owns Torchlight, but maybe not the actual developers of Torchlight, from what I vaguely recall, making a online MMO garbage game, basically, is what I vaguely recall. Let's see, Torchlight Frontiers is due for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC in 2019. Let's see.
What to do? What to do?
It's tagged as an RPG. So I think it's a loot-based RPG of some sort. But I clearly had such a uninteresting experience with it in the first place that I don't even remember it. Alright, do I want to... How do I want to play this? This, I think, and then this. And then this.
Time's up. Let's do this.
Let's go ahead and attack like this.
Time's up. Let's do this.
Here we go.
In the turn. TechRaptor has an interesting article. Telltale Games was allegedly fined $1 million for Stranger Things leaks. The fallout from the recent Telltale Games closure has been pretty unpleasant. We've learned more grisly details in the weeks since the company's messy shuttering, which led them to being sued over the spontaneous layoffs. They're still talking about that. The reason behind Telltale's closure is becoming increasingly clear as ex-employees speak openly about their time at the company and the huge problems of mismanagement and fundamental misunderstanding of its audiences, as a game industry.business postmortem says. This led to Telltale taking on too many projects and hiring too many people in an attempt to recapture the success from the 2012 Walking Dead. Super Bunny Hop's breakdown of the company failings details this further, exploring how poor management led to Telltale going broke. I think it was Super Bunny Hop's breakdown in specific that was blaming the old person in charge, which I'm not 100% sure. The problem with a lot of these stories is there's really no fact checking. It's like there's really not even a lot of guarantee that when they say they have a source, that they actually have a source, because you're getting people with basically no credibility, or who deserve no credibility, saying they have a source, which, like, sure, anybody can claim they have a source, but there needs to be some credibility and believability there. And inherently, as a journalist, if you are getting sources, you've got to try your darndest to get a lot of them to not be anonymous sources. If you've worked in the industry for a year and all your sources are anonymous sources, guess what? You don't have any proof that anything you've ever reported on was true. And sadly, that's kind of the excuse of what journalism is these days, though, so you can get away with doing things like that. Moving on with this article, the video also details tips from anonymous sources claiming that Telltale was fined at least $1 million USD following the leaks of the Netflix partner project. I doubt this would get paid. I mean, you can send somebody a bill anytime you want, and I wouldn't be surprised if Netflix did send Telltale a bill, but I imagine it's just getting added to a list of other creditors that we are unaware of. And it would certainly be messed up if it turns out that some court somewhere did determine the Telltale employees deserve some severance, but this $1 million fine for this leaked information takes priority over that, so there's not enough money to pay the employees. I would still say if employees really do deserve severance, which is a big question still, they should be at the top of the list over any investor who knew the risks a lot better. Let's see, a Stranger Things game was at the core. Man, I'm running into a lot of articles with just bad writing in them too. Like, they literally don't spell check or grammar check anything. A Stranger Things game was at the core, is what this is supposed to read as, of these leaks. A traditional Telltale game based on the hit Netflix series. Honestly, I don't think a Telltale game of Stranger Things really adds much. Like, that is inherently the problem with why Telltale failed as a company in the first place, is that it made sense in some styles of games and it makes very little sense in other styles of games. Like, even though Minecraft story mode makes a lot of sense, did really well, it really doesn't make a lot of sense that that would be a Telltale game.
Here we go.
Let's see. There was also a Minecraft project intended to bring simple game experience to a streaming service that is believed to be an ongoing project Telltale is working on. According to Super Bunny Hop, his sources talked of a threat of legal penalty if the non-disclosure agreement surrounding these projects was breached. When the leaks occurred and broke the terms of the NDA, Telltale was fined for a decent chunk of money, later said to be over $1 million US. The video explains that these sources cited these leaks as being at least partly to blame for the company's troubles, at least according to Telltale management. So now Super Bunny Hop, which I'm not sure I 100% believe Super Bunny Hop is a legitimate source. What they're saying here is Super Bunny Hop is claiming that the Telltale leaks happened before the company was going out of business and shutting down, and that caused them to be fined $1 million, and that caused them to shut down. Let me read this phrase. The video explains that these sources cited these leaks as being at least partly to blame. Man, this article is garbage. For the company's troubles, at least according to Telltale management. It's hard to say how big of an impact this had on Telltale's overall situation, which was already pretty bad, but being fined over $1 million isn't exactly a good thing. And it also apparently soured our potential partners concerned about links. The quick take from Telltale, from TechRaptor, here's... Actually, I was going to watch this video that is being quoted here by TechRaptor. So I'll probably have a little bit more information Monday when I watch this video. The quick take from TechRaptor is, the recent revelations about Telltale's business practice and poor management has been eye-opening to say the least. It was also rumored that Telltale was at the behest of a questionable leadership, but the details that have come out have been pretty shocking. I highly recommend people read the GameIndustry.biz postmortem linked above. Very interesting stuff. I kind of feel like Super Bunny Hop has some vested biased interest in the way he's covering his stories, or he's just getting a lot of YouTube clicks based on this story, so he's using that to his advantage as much as possible. The thing that's weird about this is if it really is just some $1 million fine, you generally don't shut down your whole company because somebody says it's $1 million. You say, that wasn't us, we didn't leak it, that's not our fault, we're not paying, no. You get the lawyers involved, you drag it out, you make it take a lot longer than the alleged week that it took in at Telltale. That being said, I guess maybe the management is so incredibly incompetent at Telltale that they maybe would have done that, but still very questionable. Very, very questionable. Let's do this. This will be interesting. Place my hand with legendary minions.
Here we go.
Sure, why not? After I play this. Let's see. We've got a game on Steam called World War III. Came out pretty recently and it's already mixed reviews. First person shooter, multiplayer action game. You're pretty ambitious to call your game World War III. Looks like it's honestly a pretty good looking first person shooter, but not that good. Why would you release this so close to Call of Duty 2? That's a good question. This is an English, Polish, Russian game. Early access, $28 with no discount. See what some of the negative reviews are. There's no way this is making it to the wish list anyways. I shouldn't bother. No game here. Wonder if the rumors are true of the hack. Or 100% GPU usage, high memory and CPU usage. Waiting on a connection to server screen. What gives? Waiting to connect to the servers for 1.5 hours. Do not buy until server issues are fixed. So yeah, you just cannot even connect to it. Interesting.
Choose soon.
Alright, play this. And that'll be interesting. So yeah, World War III was a game that does not run. No wonder it's 50%. That tends to be the only reason that a developer's game that's brand new gets so many reviews. Is it's a free-to-play game that's rated 50%. Let's see, this is from the developer that made the game Get Even. And Painkiller, Hell and Damnation. So there is actually some weird credibility behind this, but not a lot. Interesting. Well, that game is dead in the water, I guess, until they fix it. They might as well see if they can pull the reviews, the game off Steam, and work on it some more. That's why it's so very important to well,
strap in. It's gonna be a blast.
That's why it's so important to have a good launch, particularly on a multiplayer game, and have a beta and have a beta off Steam in particular, so that those bad reviews don't follow your game forever. Let's see. Force a enemy to deal damage.
Rush the enemy! Defend your attack!
Let's see, how do we want to do this? Guess I kind of have to do it this way.
Here we go.
In the turn. Next we have a game on Steam called Arcane Rush, which doesn't look very good. It looks like some simplistic low polygon animation. Just look at the lack of detail in the background, look at the lack of detail on the ground. That's where you start to see a lack of effort and not really an artistic style. Most of these could easily be Unity asset flip elements. And as a Unity asset, a tree like this would be a good starting point to developing something better, but not the final product. See, this is an English and Portuguese Brazil game, $1.79 discounted. And I imagine this developer has made nothing else. Yep. And the other player on Hearthstone is not playing. Let's see. Next we have a game on Steam. I need to hurry up if I'm going to get all these games covered, called Fallen Sky on online. It says it's an RPG. It looks like it's an RPG Maker game. Or worse. It may not actually even be RPG Maker. Looks like it's only in German. Yeah, it is. Okay. $3.99 discounted if you want to play a German RPG game. Alright. Let's do this.
The enemy! Defend your
Here we go.
attack!
There you go. Do I want to activate this now? I really don't have a reason to.
I must choose!
Let's see. Apparently he just hurt himself a lot by playing Brawl. Yep. Alright, well.
Here we go.
Let's see, do I want to summon a 7/7 right now? I think I do.
Job done.
We have a game on Steam called Sudoku Killer. Looks like it's just a single screen Unity game. Odd that it would be called Killer. Seems like maybe it has a slightly different way in which it presents itself, but not too much. Not too much of a difference here, as far as what I can tell. 25% off for $1.49. Doesn't look like anything super interesting. Let's see what else this developer has made. Stuco, Jigsaw, Nonogram. Yeah, just a combination of puzzle games, which, I mean, I do kind of want to be a little generous. Maybe this is a really, really good Sudoku game. And maybe I haven't ever played a really good Sudoku game, so, like, I should think about that. Or give it some consideration at least.
Here we go.
Yeah, I guess maybe I will put this. No, because the killer part kills it, actually. The fact is, it's just called Sudoku Killer for no reason. That's the problem with it, yeah. Had it just been called Sudoku something else, I'd put it on my follow list too. But no. The fact that it went for sensationalism really doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay.
Well played.
And do I want to get rid of a guy this way? Because if next turn I'm going to have to attack here and I'm going to have to attack here. Do I want another 7? No, I'm going to leave it just for a safety move. This should be the last game for this recording. Next we have a game on Steam called Gnome's Garden Halloween, which looks like it's a resource management game. These PC versions of resource management games still don't really make a lot of sense to me. How much is it? $8.99 I think is what that says. Maybe $6.99 discounted. Really expensive. Nothing here that interests me at all. Clearly just trying to sell on the Halloween thing from a developer who makes simplistic games, mosaic puzzles, and things like that. I guess more and more games like this, or developers like that, are also going to play a part in getting games removed. Like, if the developer is known for making simplistic games that are even if they're rated highly, I think I'm gonna have to make the decision that I personally just don't play simplistic games like that, and so they're just not good. They're good kind of games for me to play. Let's do this. And
here
this.
we go.
And I screwed up. Screwed up big time on that one. The next game on the list is Sakura Day 2 Mahjong from the exact same developer publisher. It's just a simplistic Mahjong solitaire game. $2.99 for 40% off. That's again not good. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure we're gonna run into any actual good games on Friday. Alright, so how are we doing here? Not incredibly great, but if I can play one more rogue game and play 8 cards and get one more victory, then I am done for the European account, and then that only leaves the Asian account left to deal with. We've gotten the tavern balls done and everything else. Well, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me, you can support me through Patreon or friend me on Steam and gift me a game or a gift card. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.